rugby and going into collisions and contact too much, and that's part of it?
I think that's part and parcel of it. I think, potentially we need to move the ball away from contact a little bit more and try and look for space and create. And we've probably been a little bit guilty of being one-dimensional, a little bit like the Italians, and not seeing space and putting the ball into space. We've kind of been reliant on Heathlips and O'Briens to try and break tackles, and it's sort of very one-off rugby, and it's been successful at times, but it certainly does take its toll on bodies. And you can't sustain numerous international matches by just trying to bang the door down. You have to be a little bit more creative. You have to try and put little bits of shapes on moves to try and soften defences, and run to soft shoulders as opposed to playing a physical power game the whole time.
Yeah, so they don't want to be doing that against Italy today. Italy are quite a powerful unit, aren't they? So the last thing you want to do is play one at rugby and play to their strength.
Well, exactly. I think Tom touched on the Italians. They went one off. They hold up the ball on average 127 times in a game, and they're not creating. It's not like they have a huge understanding. Unfortunately, I think Ireland are playing a little bit similar to that. They're not using the space and putting footwork on before the line. So hopefully today, we'll see a little bit of a change. The fact that the weather's good, and Ireland have their starting wingers back in the lineup will hopefully indicate that they want to get the ball out wide and play a little bit of ball.
I'm not sure you can blame the injuries on the way Ireland are playing, because you look at Italy play exactly the same, don't they? Italy plays very direct, very one out, yet they haven't got all those injuries. It's just bad luck for the Irish now.
Yeah, no, I think that is it. Yeah, it's bad luck. To have 13 injuries in the Six Nations is very unlucky, and some of the guys that have been injured are really key players. Jonathan Sexton, Stephen Ferris, Gordon Darcy, Strauss at hooker. There's some fantastic players there who can, are the real spine of a side and can really, be missed. So it is unfortunate, but there are some good young players, and hopefully we can be a little bit more creative today.
I suppose it just sums up Ireland, doesn't it? Sexton comes back from his hamstring injury and then injures his foot.
Yeah,
the same week he comes back. So when your luck's down, it really is down.
Yes, because there's a man who's a shoe-in for an Ireland spot at 10. Great reception for Italy as they come out, and many people's choices 10 for a Lions tour as well.
Yeah, I think his form over the last year certainly has put him in pole position for the starting 10 spot for the Lions. Now, he's probably a little bit nervous now. He's got a 6-week injury, so he'll be fighting the clock in order to get himself fit. But I think he's probably done enough so far in the last season to get himself on the plane. I know the two guys in the second game today will obviously be fighting for that spot, along with some other great 10s around, like Michael Bossman here as well.
It'd be good to see Paddy Jackson today, though, as well. I think he's a really talented player, isn't he? And hopefully he can build a bit of confidence in the last few games.
I felt very sorry for him over the last couple of games, because he's been under a lot of pressure. He's played in some huge games. England at home on the back of that first game was a tough outing for him, and he was under criticism before he even started that game on the back of his Heineken Cup performance against Leinster the previous year. So he certainly hasn't had it easy, but he's a young guy. He's 21 years old, and he'll learn.
We'll see how he gets on today. Okay, over for the anthems. Formalities over then, let's cross over to our commentators, Philip Matthews and Conor McNamara.
Neither have managed a victory since. Jacques Brunel makes 3 changes to his pack in the absence of the hugely experienced Martin Castrogiovanni in the front row. Lo Cicero and Cittadini have over 140 caps between them. Simone Favaro also comes in. And in the backs, Italy have named the same 7 players that started against England last weekend. Declan Kidney retains the same pack that started against France. In fact, 6 of these 8 players have started every game for Ireland during this campaign. Johnny Sexton's injury denies him a comeback, so the one change is on the wing, where Craig Gilroy is back at 14. Among the replacements, Ireland have the giant Devon Toner, who stands 6 feet 11 inches in his socks, and the uncapped Paul Marshall comes in for the injured Owen Redden. The last 6 games in which Wayne Barnes has been in charge of involving Ireland have only resulted in 1 Irish win. Mind you, regardless of who the referee is, Ireland have struggled for victories lately. Today looking for their first win in 4 outings. So here we go, the last weekend of the RBS Six Nations, with the new Pope at the helm here in Rome this week. It's interesting that, like Francis I, 4 of this Italian side were born in Argentina. Good conditions here, Philip Matthews. Ireland haven't played with a dry ball since the opening day win over Wales.
Clear release.
No, that's right. It's perfect conditions, absolutely no wind, lovely crisp day. Now, I suppose that means that Paddy Jackson and his game management is going to be absolutely key. Unlike when it's wet, rainy conditions, where the game plan is a lot simpler and more one-dimensional, he's got a lot more options on his plate today, so game management for both sides is going to be absolutely key.
Paddy Jackson finds his touch with the first penalty of the game, and it will be Ireland's line out just inside their own half.
And there's the Six Nations top ball carrier so far. Not far behind him is Alessandro Zani, and a very dynamic and genuinely world-class Italian front row.
Italy's line-out has been the most successful of the tournament so far, but Ireland safely retain ball with their first throw. Conor Murray. And an early one for Keith Earls to chase. Big Sergio Parisse. Parisse didn't manage to hold on to the ball, but also didn't tumble into touch. This is Lorenzo Cittadini. First touch of the ball for Orcara. It just seemed to move in the air as it dropped down for Rob Kearney.
Bring them.
Well held by Orcara once again. This is Favaro. Eduardo Gori is the scrum half. This is Geraldini, the hooker.
Well, that's an area that Italy will not want.
He's okay. Relax.
To maintain, they don't want to be giving away too many early penalties. Been probably a little bit guilty in the past of indiscipline, and this year in particular at scrum time have been penalised quite frequently for an early engagement. And a little bit of loose kicking by both teams initially. Conor Murray seems to have found his range in the last part with a great up and under, but O'Carroll and Kearney maybe just pushing the ball a little bit too long.
Jackson's kick brings Ireland into the Italia 22. We saw a shot of Andrea Lo Cicero there. This is the 8th time he's faced Ireland. He's never been on the winning side against them, and he would love to bow out of his international career with a win here. Said yesterday, the Azzurri jersey is like a second skin to him. Rory Best prepares for the throw. Must be a favourite to start for the Lions this summer at number 2. And not the cleanest line-out with that one, though. Favaro gains possession back for Italy. Raced via Massi.
Advantage over.
That's Luke McLean's kick. Rob Kearney was very well positioned. And one to chase, with Earls with him in support. And this has worked out well for Ireland. Donncha Ryan. Heaslip, the captain. And Sean O'Brien. This is Conor Murray. Good start from Ireland. Heaslip. Ireland midway inside the Italian 22. Rory Best. Good hands from Heaslip, but then the knock on, and an earlier advantage gets activated in Ireland's favour.
Yeah, that was a good start, but coming from Rob Kearney's Gary Owen, it was signalled early by Keith Earls, and it was well chased by both Earls and Kearney. That's Murray taking the ball on. They've got Italy on the back foot at that stage. Just need to get through the hands a little bit quicker and get quicker ball. Mike McCarthy coming in there now. It gives Paddy Jackson the first opportunity. He's been pretty good in warm-up and needs to just translate that to the pitch. And a good day last weekend will give him some momentum coming into this game.
Yes, Paddy Jackson scored 8 of Ireland's 13 points against France last weekend, including 2 long kicks that were close to the halfway line. This one is just a few paces outside the 22. To give Ireland the early lead in Rome. Good start for Paddy Jackson. Italy 0, Ireland 3.
Just a few loose kicks from Italy, giving Ireland a little bit too much time to counter, and a little much better execution, particularly from Rob Kearney with the kick and chase, is giving Ireland that 3-point opportunity. And I sense that's the way it's going to play out. Whichever side is managing their game best and executing the best is going to come out on top.
Well, he's got a long way to go, Paddy Jackson, to reach the points total of Ronan O'Gara, but he's now up to 14 for his country, and that will be an inspirational start, and will do him the world of good, I'm sure. Conor Murray played hot potato with the ball there, and that's been adjudged to be a knock-on for the scrum.
Well,
just lost it forward at 9.
Conor Murray juggled and he regained it, but the ball must have touched somebody else before he regained it. Yeah. Just took his eye off the ball there.
Erislo Cicero became Italy's most capped player ever against Italy last weekend.
A little closer. Just got a little closer.
So the scrum. And in the previous full weekends of Six Nations rugby this year, Italy have the best record of winning their own scrums. 93% success rate before today.
Thank you. They're fine. No, the mark is here. They're fine. Thank you. Make sure, 8. Thanks.
Italy's physical attributes, especially in the scrum, never in question.
Crouch! Touch!
Well, there's that early engagement again. They've been pinged for that an awful lot this season. They're very eager to get into this scrum. There shouldn't really be much of a difference between the two scrums today. I don't imagine either scrum is really going to go after the other one. And that's disappointing from Italy's point of view. That's continuing the trend.
And one for Ireland to chase down into the Italian half. Parise's underneath it for Italy. Very emotional yesterday at the press conference. Sergio Parise speaking about Andrea Locicero's final game.
Stolen.
These are big Italian men, but they're emotional as well when it comes to their rugby.
Use it! Still in.
O'Gara plays scrum half, and once again it's the left boot of Luke McLean that kicks Italy out of their 22.
Well, what Ireland have done very well this season is that they've forced the ball out of touch. Rory Best has thrown 50 lineouts, which is nearly twice as many as the next hooker in the championship.
Just nice gaps.
And that means that Ireland have been forcing the ball out of touch. They've been putting great pressure on, and they'll be relieved to have Donnacha Ryan on the side coming through this shoulder injury. He's been key.
It is towards Sean O'Brien, and this is Conor Murray. Not the cleanest of lineouts from Ireland, but they've got away with it. Jackson to Marshall.
No tackle.
This is Murray and Paddy Jackson once again. Heaslip.
And away. Stay there too. Thank you.
Conor Murray's kick bounces just as he would have wished.
Well, Conor Murray's had to grow up in the last few weeks, having a young Paddy Jackson outside him. He's having to take on much more responsibility, and actually is allowing him to develop that kicking part of his game, and you could show it in the last few weeks. That's really come on.
Last year Ireland beat Italy 42 points to 10 in Dublin. However, it was a lot closer when these sides last met here in Rome. Ireland scraped a 13-11 victory 2 years ago, which wasn't at this stadium, the Olympic Stadium. That was at Stadio Flamini. But a virtually full house here today. Even when the local football teams, Roma and Lazio, play here, they only average around 30,000. Over 70,000 people in the stadium for this rugby match today. This is the stadium where the Republic of Ireland lost in Italia 90 to the host nation, thanks to the dastardly Toto Scalacci, a name remembered in Irish sport ever since. Good line out for the Italians. Joshua Ferno rising highest. And this is Orquera. And that's okay for Ireland.
Yeah, it is. It's very good for Ireland. Good pressure has meant that Orquera's had to very, very deep little wry shake of the head from Jacques Brunel, and I could sympathise. I'd like to have seen, from Italy's point of view, them take that up a little bit further. That would have given them another 25 yards of territory, but they're still very much in the danger zone.
We saw a quick view of Jacques Brunel, the Italian coach. Defeat today for Italy could see them finish bottom of the Six Nations for the 10th time.
Well, that was Parise getting up again in front of Donnacha Ryan. They've really set Parise on Ryan today, because they know that Ryan is the key man in this Irish lineup.
Number 5's foot.
Donnacha Ryan's foot was mentioned by Wayne Barnes in his judicial comments, giving this penalty to the Italians. And that will be an Italian line out now up around the halfway line.
Well, it just means that Ireland are going to have to start to bring a little bit more variation, a little bit predictable going to Ryan. And Ryan, in calling the lineouts, will want to get his own back as well. So they'll be really playing with Ryan's ego, putting Parise on him like that so early.
Leonardo Giraldini. Well claimed by Zani. What a servant he's been to Italian rugby. So much talk about Parise and Lo Cicero, but Alessandro Zani consistently there for his nation.
Yes, he's been Italy's top line-out taker in the tournament, and that's a great start for Italy, because looking at these two sides, you might have said if anybody's got a bit of an edge, it might be Ireland in the line-outs, but Italy have done their homework.
And a huge kick brings the Italians into the Ireland 22 for the first time of the game.
Well, I said that the line-out is going to be key today. It's going to be key to the kicking game of both O'Cara and Jackson, giving them many more options. And if Italy can keep this up, this is going to be very, very difficult for Ireland. Ireland are going to have to find their way back into the match, and it's going to have to be at some stage through the line-out.
Well, Ireland put the early points on the scoreboard. This is their first real defensive test of the game. Won again by Zani. Now, this will test the Irish defence. Good push on from the Italians. And still they rumble. This is what the crowd in Rome loves to see. The Irish fight back.
Well, that should have been a
penalty. The Italians
It should have been a penalty to Ireland, I would have thought, but Wayne Barnes has seen something else.
Relax.
Not letting go.
I decide. We broke away from them all, and then the release. You must release in the tackle. Go for goal.
Sergio Parise decides to go for the points, but that was an example of the Italians digging their studs into the turf and getting the push on.
Well, this is the maul. The Italians did really, really well. Ireland at one stage thought they might have been able to counter it. I don't know if we're going to see this played through. That's Parise at the back. He hasn't got his hands on the ball yet. No, he has it. No, the tackle is made. I think that's very harsh on Peter Amani. I thought Parise was to ground first, that Amani wasn't the primary tackler. Difficult to tell from that angle, though.
No mistake from Luciano Orchera, and Italy are back on level terms in Rome.
And the line-out is key. Coming into the match, Ireland would have been very, very confident in their own line-out, whereas Italy might have been a little bit over-reliant on Alessandro Zani. I mean, they've used him today, but their defensive line-out has been excellent. Ireland have won little or no clean ball from it so far.
So 3-3 here at the Stadio Olimpico. A reminder that Italy have never beaten Ireland in the Six Nations. Italy's last win over the Irish, Bologna in 1997. Here they come, the host nation on the charge. Once again, Parise leads the line, but he's been penalised.
Next man in, stop the competition by going off his feet.
Not Parise's fault. It was the cavalry arriving behind him off their feet.
Well, that was loud and clear from Wayne Barnes, and I have to say referees throughout the Six Nations this year have been pretty hot on that. Pretty consistent.
So from that angle of the pitch, the left boot of Rob Kearney is the preferred option, and it brings Ireland up to around the 10-metre line inside the Italian half.
Yeah.
It's a good break, though.
There was. Just getting outside Rory Best. No. What is Donnacha Ryan going to do this time?
5.
He's going to probably have to vary it. He'll have Parise on him again, I imagine.
Donnacha Ryan has won more lineouts than any other player in the Six Nations. It was towards him, and he's missed it. And Ireland's lineout malfunctioning in the early stages here in Rome.
Well, it was a poor throw by Rory Best. It was well on the Italian side.
This is Garcia. Gonzalo Garcia, the Treviso player. New lease of life in the Italian team. Before last month, he hadn't played since the last World Cup. Here's Heaslip as Ireland get it back. Conor Murray crouches. Jackson. Carney. Peter O'Mahony. I'm not sure that Brian O'Driscoll has touched the ball in this game so far. There's so much spoken in the build-up as to whether it could be O'Driscoll's final game in green. Jackson's kick, highest of the day so far. McLean is underneath it for Italy. Gori. Ireland's defence up quick. Quick ball for the Italians. Orchera. Good hands from Parise. Had to crouch down to his ankles to catch it.
Use it!
It's McLean. Italy happy to keep ball in hand. Joshua Furno not able to make any ground. This is Giraldini. And Orchera. Parise does the bulldozing. Narrow side for Gori once more. O'Kara flung it too powerfully at Gonzalo Garcia, and that should be a turnover for Ireland. Sean O'Brien. A decent spell of possession that for the Italians, Philip, but nothing coming from it.
Well, Keith earlier on was talking about the stats in terms of carries and metres made, and it just shows you it's not about the stats, it's what you do with the ball when you have it, and so far that's been Italy's problem.
Advantage in the Italians' favour, immediately activated. And a penalty to Italy.
Come off the ball.
Well, that's exactly the same penalty
Clear release, please.
that Peter O'Mahony conceded. And the penalty was given before Mike Ross went in like that. He's judged to be the tackler, therefore he needed to move away from the ball. So Wayne Barnes is going to pay a lot of attention clearly to that this afternoon.
So Italy are going to go for the posts again.
Yes, you can see that he's made the tackle, he's got to his feet, but players these days know that they have to make a conscious effort to move their hands away, almost exaggerate getting the hands away from the tackler so that they can then re-engage and challenge for the ball.
Jacques Brunel, who we saw there again briefly, was a fullback in his playing days, but used to be forwards coach for the French national team. And O'Kara here, who missed two crucial kicks at Twickenham last weekend. Had he got them, it might have put a different complexion on this final day of the championship. This is a much further distance than the previous kick with which he was successful with early on. Certainly got the distance, but it comes back off the woodwork for Heaslip for Ireland and a let-off for the visitors.
Oh, that's a big let-off, because Italy really should have taken a 6-point lead there, but Ireland now on the attack.
Here's O'Driscoll, and now Ireland getting hand and ball. And the opening match against Wales, particularly the first half, played in dry conditions and sunshine, and Ireland sparkled. Since then they've played in the wet and have been dull, but let's see what O'Driscoll can do here. Looked like Luke Marshall was tackled off the ball as he tried to chase. Wayne Barnes happy with that though. This is McLean. Good pace from Parise. Well, it's certainly been an open start to the game. Penalty to the Italians once more.
Well, the game turning around now in Italy's favour. That little kick through from O'Driscoll didn't really put much pressure on Italy, and they're able to run it back and force the penalty.
Quick succession on the goal line here and there. Please talk to your players or I might escalate it. Clear the tackle zone. Okay,
so that's the same again, Wayne Barnes. Is clear the tackle zone. So Parise, the ball carrier, he's been tackled by Heaslip and Healy. Now, I'm not exactly sure what Wayne Barnes is saying in that particular instance. Cian Healy maybe could have made more of an effort to get away, but there was a third Irish player then.
He is tackler getting away.
I don't see that particularly the same. That is, he wants to see Cian Healy rolled away, but Cian Healy wasn't challenging for the ball there. All these decisions going against Ireland and for Italy.
Well, really good noise around this stadium, where Italy have won 2 and lost 2 in the Six Nations. They beat Scotland here last year, and of course they beat France at the start of this campaign. And O'Kara, who missed by millimetres just a moment ago, will hope to make amends here. That's much better. 2 successful kicks out of 3, and for the first time in the game, Italy lead Ireland 6 points to 3. O'Kara, one of the Italian players born in Argentina. His 2 successful kicks have got the Italians in front. Just over a quarter of the game played. Gory's kick this time. Nicely claimed by Peter O'Mahony. And now he needs support.
Back feet, that's good.
Jackson. Marshall. Well, you could see what he was trying to do, but Ireland have lost possession. Keith Earls reclaims it. This is Luke McLean. Massey.
Retire three.
One for himself to chase. Rob Kearney arrives. Good hands from Geldenhays. There's a great collision between Massey and Rob Kearney, two of the outstanding fullbacks of this championship, but lovely hands here from the Italians. That's the Irish 22. Parise to Orquera. McLean did well not to knock it on, and then Quinton Geldenhays couldn't help knocking it on.
Green ball.
Well, it was all a little bit static for Italy. They needed a little bit more depth in coming onto the ball. But again, that little beautiful sleight of hand, we've seen it a couple of times from Parise this championship. Here it comes. That's that gorgeous little pass. It just gives the receiver that extra little bit of yard because of the confusion, the uncertainty it creates. And that's the first knock on. Oh, a bit of a let off for Ireland in some respects.
Sergio Parise scored a try against Ireland in Dublin last year. And we mentioned how the conditions are good for ball in hand, but as that statistic just showed you, there have been 6 handling errors already in the 24 minutes we've played.
And Ireland, really, they're struggling to A, get their hands on the ball, and then B, to hold on to it as well, which is more like the pressure that they've been putting on other teams, most notably Scotland. You remember they dominated possession, 75-80% of it, but momentum really swinging in favour of Italy here.
Final day of the OBS Six Nations. Italy hoping for their second win, something they've only managed once before, back in 2007.
Crouch. Touch.
2 wins in the same season would put a nice sheen on this championship for them, which started so well, the win here against the French, but they've not managed a victory since. This is Massey. Jackson to Keith Earls. O'Driscoll outside him if he needs it. Conor Murray's kick ended up in the arms of Donncha Ryan, but his feet were out of the field of play, and that will be an Italian line out.
Well, Ireland keeping the ball in hand there and doing much better because of it.
Quite close to the line out, so we'll stop. Okay.
Pass really inside wasn't on from Earls. Well, it's from there that Conor Murray made his kick. Brings up the line out to Italy. So again, they're kind of handing over possession. They really need to have a spell where they're dominating possession and putting a little bit of pressure on Italy, because they've done neither possession or territory. They're largely in favour of Italy so far.
Keith Earls just receiving a bit of treatment. Such has been the list of injuries for Declan Kidney, and he's had to put square pegs in round holes at many occasions in terms of making changes during games. He won't want to lose Earls this early in the game. Ireland do have Luke Fitzgerald available amongst the replacements if necessary. As you see, they've scored 3 tries against Italy in recent times. Got one last year against them. And it does look like Ireland might be preparing Luke Fitzgerald to come on here.
Yes, well, it looks like a shoulder. He just went to ground shoulder first. And in such dry conditions, I hope that's not a dislocation, but judging by the pain in his face, it looks like it might be.
Game back underway. Luke Fitzgerald on the field for Ireland. His only international try so far came against Italy here in Rome. 2 years ago he scored both in one game at Stadio Flaminio. This is Conor Murray for Ireland.
Good.
Jackson. First touch of the ball for Fitzgerald.
Off your feet, good.
We might be seeing Luke Fitzgerald on the field now for the remainder of this game. Those shoulder injuries, you tend not to see players come back on if it's been popped out. There's another Irish player down inside the Italian half. Let's see if the home nation can take advantage of playing against 14 men for the moment. Here is Luke McLean. Might have been a knock-on, ball didn't go to ground. Cian Healy for Ireland.
Well, I think that's Paddy Jackson down, and it looks like he's going off.
What is it with injuries for Ireland in this campaign? Before kick-off, we listed out for you on screen all the players, and not just fringe players as well, important big names have been dropping it like flies.
No, it's not Paddy Jackson, I think it's Luke Marshall.
Now this is Paddy Jackson stooping to collect the ball. Good hands, actually. Here is Gio Venditti. His 2 international tries have both come here in Rome, both last year against England and then Scotland.
2 on his feet, 2 in a good body position.
And that will be a penalty for Ireland just inside the Italian half.
Well, Luke Marshall's looking very, very unsteady on his feet as he's being helped off the pitch. Well, on the touchline we can see Ian Madigan warming up, so there's a little bit of shuffling to be done here.
Well, Luke Marshall has made a name for himself in this campaign, coming in early on after Gordon Darcy was injured. He only turned 22 earlier this month, a young man with a big career ahead of him. And on comes a 23-year-old now, Ian Madigan, on the field for Ireland.
Oh, that's a big blow. He'll presumably slip into centre beside O'Driscoll, straight 1-for-1 swap, unless they decide to bring a more experienced Luke Fitzgerald in the centre, but there's no sign of that. Luke Fitzgerald taking up his deep position, waiting for this kick.
That's Madigan, a novice in international terms, but he has played 2 Heineken Cup finals for Leinster. And while Ireland rejig their formation, they could do it. Paddy Jackson getting some points here. That's taken up way wide to the right-hand side. And Italy remain in front 6 points to 3. Not been a good last 5 minutes for Ireland, Phil.
No, a little bit of disarray, to be quite frank, and that injury will not have helped. The injury to Keith Earls didn't help, and now to young Luke Marshall. That will really disrupt their midfield play.
We mentioned square pegs and round holes. Ironically, Keith Earls, one of the more flexible players. He could play centre or full-back or on the wing. And he's the first player who's had to leave the field for Ireland, and followed now by Luke Marshall. Here's Paddy Jackson to Heaslip, back to Jackson. Now Madigan. Very sharp defence again from Italy, but then they didn't move away and they're penalised.
Relax.
Well, in fairness to Wayne Barnes, he's been consistent.
Okay, I'll come and speak to you. Okay, just 1 second. Touch red flag.
There's a flag up here, and I think it was for an Irish stamp.
Let's see how this player is.
Not sure who that is from Italy lying down, but it may well have been as a result of some foul play that.
Let's have a listen to Wayne Barnes.
I'm just about to penalise Blue for not running away in the tackle. And
far from the ball, touching green, stamping the players on the ground, far from the ball.
13 green. Yeah. Recommendation?
Yellow card and penalty.
Okay, thank you.
What about this? In possibly his last game in an Ireland jersey, his 125th cap, Brian O'Driscoll will have now 10 minutes on the sidelines.
Well, I'm not sure if that's his first yellow card, but the referee had no option. You can see the frustration there. The Italian player lying over the ball. I think it was Favaro. You might have got away with that in the old days, but not anymore.
Made his debut as a fresh-faced kid in 1999. He's done things we've never seen before in the rugby field. If it is to be his final game, Irish fans expecting fireworks from O'Driscoll. Not those kind of fireworks, though.
No, he's making a meal of that, but you can't condone what Brian has done there.
So half an hour played in Rome. Shortened line out. Parise wins it. Gori to Orquera through Canale.
Yeah, that was forward.
Craig Gilroy up very quick in a blitz defence there for Ireland.
Yes, he's done an awful lot of that this year when he's been playing. He's timed his run just about right, seen the danger and been able to get man and ball. And what that's done is it's forced the forward pass. You'll just see Gilroy coming up, making the quick tackle, and that has forced the forward pass to Andrea Mazzi.
So from the team that Declan Kidney started with, he has now lost Keith Earls and Luke Marshall to injury, and Brian O'Driscoll is in the sin bin. He's got a fair bit of criticism this campaign, but not a lot has got his way, has it?
Well, that's true, but look, injuries notwithstanding, some of the key decisions that have been made around the captaincy, for instance, has probably not really made the most of the resources. The expectations from an Irish perspective would still be high despite all of those injuries, because it's introduced some new blood into this team, which has been necessary, and by and large that new blood has performed very well.
Same as last, balance.
Well, the crowd are doing a Mexican wave, which is often a sign that they're not being overly entertained with what's happening on the pitch, but there is a good atmosphere here, along with Twickenham, the largest stadium being used for Six Nations.
Use the ball.
Good push from Ireland. Heaslip takes it. Peter Romani protects. And Murray kicks. Rory Best was first after that one. This is clean possession for the Italians. Parise, Mazzi, Venditti. Oh, he's so powerful. Parise plays scrum half. Orquera to Joshua Forno. Gori to Orquera. Remember, Ireland playing with 14 men at the moment as Geldon Hayes goes forward for Italy. This is Gori. Zani. Italy into the 22. Forno once again. And numbers out wide for Italy. And dropped on by Orquera at a very critical juncture.
Entry.
Cian Healy.
Penalty, entry.
Advantage is activated, and a penalty for Ireland after what was probably the most entertaining passage of play as the Italians came forward there.
Well, the Italians sensing that Ireland are vulnerable at the moment. And we've got an injured Luke Fitzgerald as well. He picked up a little strain, and whether he's going to be able to continue, really not sure. Looks like either a calf or an ankle. So Ireland in a little bit of disarray and wanting to get into half-time, I'd imagine.
Ireland only have one more back available amongst the replacements, and that's a scrum half, Paul Marshall, who's not played a senior test before. Sean O'Brien there furrowing away by himself, and Ireland securing the turnover. Parise, as always, he's been immense today. But Jacques Brunel will probably feel for Italy's possession they should have more on the scoreboard.
He will, but I don't think he'll be too upset. He can see that Italy are dominating the phases they wanted to dominate. Line out and possession. They're maintaining their position where they left off. And I think Ireland, at the moment, are in a little bit of disarray. There's a little bit of panic starting to break out in the ranks, you can see.
Jackson's kick, and it will be an Ireland line out exactly on the halfway line.
Yeah, they've got limited options from here. They're one man down. They've cut the line out, and they've got Heaslip just standing deep in behind Ian Madigan, who's standing at inside centre. They've got to win the ball first.
Still 7 minutes left in the bin for O'Driscoll. This is Jackson through Madigan to Carney. Heaslip's sidestep. Sure, O'Brien engulfing his scrum out there, but Ireland have lost possession. Look how much it means to the Italian forwards, and Chicharito in amongst them.
Let him get up, nice and easy.
Well, they're doing to Ireland what Ireland have done to so many teams. You'd have to say they're playing a very Irish game. They're mauling the ball well, their set pieces are solid, and they're getting real width on the ball as well. And with that choke tackle, they've turned Ireland over.
Good scrummage, good discipline. Balance. Crouch. Touch. Set.
Solid from the Italian scrum, and they've been awarded the penalty.
Free across and out.
Well, that's from Mike Ross. He needs to keep square, and he's been penalised for scrummaging across and out, and that gives O'Cara another opportunity. That's within his range, and Parise's going for it. Italy doing the right thing. They're taking any opportunity to get points on the board initially. It's actually on the other side. That's Cian Healy's side. It's Mike Ross who's popped up there. Has been penalised.
Just where your foot is. I will. I'll put them there. You put it there, and I'll make sure they're 10 metres.
That's Garcia's going for this. Actually, he's a long-range specialist.
Fifth time that Gonzalo Garcia has played against Ireland. He's never put any points on the board against today's opponents. Plays alongside O'Cara at Zebra.
And as we watch Garcia lining up, you can see Luke Fitzgerald. Yet another injury for Ireland. Luke Fitzgerald coming off. And Ian Henderson is warming up, so it looks like they're going to play a forward on the wing. I'm not sure who's going to get the lucky or the short straw, should I say.
The attempt from Gonzalo Garcia from almost on the halfway line has extended the Italian lead. Smiles on faces at Stadio Olimpico, and Ireland forced to bring on a forwards to play in the backs, I think sums up the sense of disarray amongst the visitors.
Well, they could have brought on Paul Marshall, the sub-scrum half, but the diminutive Marshall, Declan Cleveland may not have thought that he doesn't particularly want to bring him on at scrum half, doesn't want to put him on the wing, so it remains to be seen who's going to slot him where yet.
Some of the discussion in the papers during the week, Philip, that Ireland suffering these injuries, was it to do with their conditioning? Is it the build of the players, or is it just the way the cookie crumbles? I
think there's a mixture of a few things there. I do think it's a lot of bad luck. Whether Luke Fitzgerald had been out of the game for so long and coming off the bench cold, whether that pull was an inevitability. The sun is out, but it's chilly. Now Ian Henderson has slipped onto the wing, so it's a straight swap. So you've got a number 6. Ian Henderson has pace, but he's not a winger.
21-year-old from Craigavon. Were you ever forced to play drastically out of position in your playing days, Philip?
Well, actually, it's Peter Manny slipped to the wing, and Ian Henderson. So you're taking a key forward out there. Peter Manny's been a big part of Ireland's success at the breakdown. So he's slipped to the wing, and Ian Henderson's into the pack.
Murray to Heaslip. Still another couple of minutes for the sin bin. This is Andrea Masi, tackled by Mike McCarthy. Garcia towards Parise.
He's okay, released and got back up.
Huge push from the Italia captain. This is Orchera. Masi. Craig Gilroy was up quickly again, but not able to intercept. Orchera. Lo Cicero on his final game for Italy. Gori's kick, fortunately for Italy, pops into the arms of Gonzalo Garcia. Orchera. McLean. Ireland attempting to hold him off the ground in a choke tackle.
Oh, that's great for Ireland. That's what they wanted. If they can just get through this next couple of minutes, get into the change room and regroup. The choke tackle was a key part of that.
Okay.
Brian O'Driscoll preparing to come back on. At his age, Philip, he'll be grateful of the 10 minutes rest.
Well, it's important for Ireland that they've got another leader coming back on, because the danger for Ireland is that they just start to disintegrate. Things haven't been going too well. Confidence is not exactly at its highest, and being down to 13 men with so many injuries and repositions is going to take a lot of character for Ireland to get back into this game.
Boot of Rory Best making an important interception. We're into the final minute of the first half here, and Brian O'Driscoll makes his way back onto the field.
Yes, that's an episode he'll want to forget. Peter O'Mahony picking up a bit of a knock. At one stage he was down there. It was looking like he was going to go off, but I think it'll take a lot more than a knock to get him off the pitch. He's been a real find this season, stepping in for, well, you could say given his chance because of the injuries to Stephen Ferris. But he's really made that position his own now.
O'Driscoll suffered concussion against France, plus a dead leg and a lacerated ear, hence the bandage across his head. 8 stitches, and even then he still came back onto the field towards the end.
He comes up the other way.
Peter O'Mahony back, taking his position on the left wing for Ireland.
Touch! Set! Stay on 7.
Murray to Jackson. O'Driscoll's chasing this one, so to Carney. McLean drops it. This is Heaslip. O'Driscoll in to help the charge. Clean ball from Murray, through Jackson to Healy.
Advantage. 7. No. Advantage.
Ireland have the advantage. In the meantime, they have the ball. Carney.
No advantage. 7. Clear release, please.
We'll come back for the first infringement against Simone Fabbro. Clock has gone red. So this should be the final action of the first half.
I think that's as good as Ireland could have been hoping for, is get a 3-point opportunity to reduce the deficit ahead of half-time and regrouping.
Simone Fabbro.
Clear release, number 7. Going to go.
Come into the team today. He was on the replacements bench at Twickenham last weekend, so Rob Carney might be hearing a bit more about that.
No, it's just a push. I think a lot of that's been made.
Well, Canale clearly puts his hand to his face, and the push was nowhere near his face.
The person with the clock now, so we do have an issue. Roman, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
So this to reduce Ireland's deficit to 3. Jackson's kick is good, and he is growing into this role as Ireland's new number 10.
Yeah, well, that took such focus. There's an awful lot going on there. Wayne Barnes trying to communicate with his touch shots to crowds voicing their displeasure. But it was absolutely crucial that he put that over and reduced the deficit for Declan Kidney and his team.
Well, that's the story at half-time. Parise remonstrates with Wayne Barnes as they make their way towards the dressing rooms. Here in Rome, Italy lead Ireland